police officers in hospital after major disturbances at Tottenham in North London. The trouble erupted after a protest at the fatal shooting of a man by police which turned violent. Patrol cars, a bus, many buildings were then set alight. Petrol bombs and stones were thrown at police as they struggled to take control. And residents told Sky News they had to flee for their lives as their homes were set alight. Mass looting broke out, spreading to a nearby retail park and a shopping centre.
We cannot allow people to simply run amok on our streets. The vast majority of local residents, of course, have nothing to do with this disorder, want nothing to do with this disorder, and they look to the police to protect them.
And this is the scene in Tottenham this morning where police have been tackling continuing disturbances. Fire crews have been trying to damp down burning buildings. We'll have all the latest live for you. So, 8 police officers in hospital after this night of violence and rioting in North London. Petrol bombs, as we were saying, being thrown at those officers. 3 patrol cars, a bus, many buildings including a supermarket and a branch of Carpetright set on fire and destroyed in Tottenham. Those disturbances broke out after 300 people had gathered outside the police station in the High Road. They were there to protest at the shooting dead of a 29-year-old man by police on Thursday. Mass looting also broke out and spread to a nearby retail park and to another area of London, North London, in Wood Green. Residents told Sky News they had to flee their homes, fearing for their lives as fire took hold of many buildings, and the fire crews were unable to get to the scene. Police have still been dealing with disturbances this morning. Downing Street has issued a statement in the last half hour condemning those events overnight as utterly unacceptable. Simon Newton spent the night on the streets of Tottenham. This is what he saw.
It began as a peaceful demonstration, but violence was close behind, as dozens of hooded and masked youths attacked Tottenham police station in North London. Within hours it had become a full-scale riot. Two police cars and a London bus set ablaze. Shops and businesses torched. The demonstration had been about the killing of 29-year-old local man Mark Duggan, shot by police on Thursday after, they claim, firing on an officer. At Tottenham's retail park, looters brazenly ransacked electrical and clothes shops, many seemingly amazed that the police didn't arrive. On the High Road, the damage runs into millions of pounds. This, the remains of the police cars, and a little further along, the London bus. As the morning arrived, fire crews worked on, many businesses still ablaze. This was the epicentre of the rioting that took place here last night, and these the remains of 2 police cars dragged out onto Tottenham High Road and set on fire. This whole area now a crime scene. 1 police officer was hospitalised and 7 others were injured. Many local people told us this was inevitable, a simmering anger at police bound to boil over, they said. The post-mortem into what happened here will be long, the questions once again difficult. This another dark chapter in Tottenham's volatile history. Simon Newton, Sky News, Tottenham.
And this is the scene live. These are the live pictures from our HD Skycopter as we see that police line across the High Road. Within the last half hour, they've begun to cordon off the area. Jane Dougal, our correspondent, is there. Jane, they're moving forward now. Is this a search for evidence?
Yes, about half an hour police closed off the road here. They formed a line. They're actually moving us back a little further back just now as well. They formed a line and they walked down the road. They call that sterilising the area to make sure that nobody was on the street at the time. And that's probably so they can start investigating the crime that went on last night, the many acts of criminality that went on last night. You can probably see the two burnt out police cars still in the middle of the road. We've seen quite a lot of people in high visibility jackets examining that. Obviously what happened last night, they were both hot wired and brought down here and then set alight. There's a possibility that the road underneath them has been damaged in some way as well, another reason to possibly close off the road. And then of course just to the left you can see several of the shops that have been completely destroyed by fire. Many of them were petrol bombed, set alight last night, probably from about 8 o'clock onwards. That was when the riots began. You can see sort of the remnants of William Hill, and there's a solicitor's just next to William Hill that has just been completely destroyed. We went in it a little earlier before the road was closed off, and it's just, there's nothing left of it. It has been completely burned out. And that's the case with many of the businesses on this high street and in some of the side streets as well. Many people, after they set it on fire and after they were smashing the facades of the shops, started looting as well, and that's been going on this morning too. To a greater extent. Perhaps another reason for police closing the roads, not just so they can get on with the criminal investigation, but also so they can stop some of the thefts that have been going on. The fire brigade are still in attendance too. A little further down this road there's a pub that's still smouldering, and a couple of the walls, we're told, are very dangerous and may collapse at any time. So for health and safety reasons also, another reason to clear people off the road. There are several people we've been speaking to this morning are very angry at what's happened. Obviously this is a reaction after the death of Mark Duggan on Thursday. Many local residents not only angry at this destruction that's happened, losing businesses, losing their homes, also angry that there wasn't action taken earlier by community leaders or by the police themselves.
And still some suspicion at what the police are doing this morning as they try to gather this evidence. I guess it's still quite a sensitive area.
Yes, it's actually surprising that the road wasn't closed off earlier. I mean, all night there's been sky crews here, and all this morning as well. It wasn't until 8:30 that police decided that it would be wise to close the road because, of course, this is a crime scene. There are many crime scenes, actually, and crimes were still going on. But when we arrived here very early this morning, there was around 20 police vans just based further down this road, and most of the police officers were there. The fire brigade were still in action, and again, maybe that's another reason that they hadn't closed off the roads, because the fire brigade still had to put out many of the fires. But you know, the two police cars that are here on fire, the double-decker bus a little further up there that was still smouldering, that was still, you know, a crime scene, that wasn't shut off at all. And there were many residents coming down here, taking pictures of it on their camera phones and milling around and actually starting to shout insults at the police. So again, possibly another reason to close off the road and to get people back off the road, because it is now a crime scene.
Jane, thank you very much indeed for that. Well, what about that criminal investigation as it will be now? Joining us in the studio, lawyer Michael Kaplan QC, to discuss the legal implications. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I guess we're talking about a variety of alleged offences now, from what, criminal damage, arson, affray, criminal assault even perhaps, if these police officers have been attacked.
That's absolutely right. Right from, as you say, on the one end, possibly theft, to the far end, which may be arson, and it's very serious assaults.
So what sort of evidence will they need? We've seen them now taping off these areas and walking down. Do they need direct forensic evidence, or can they look at CCTV pictures? What sort of case will they have to assemble?
Well, the police will be assessing all the evidence available at the moment. As has been said, this is now a sterile scene, it's a crime scene. They'll be investigating fully, they'll be looking at really every single inch, if they can, of the scene to collate all the evidence available. They'll be looking at any available CCTV film. They'll be taking statements from all the officers involved, and indeed any eyewitnesses who do come forward to give evidence to them.
will that be a particular difficulty where perhaps the community, as we've heard, is already suspicious of the police?
Well, it could be, of course, but I think there's a time issue here as well, because anyone who is in custody at the moment can only be retained in custody for a certain length of time. So there's a huge time factor here for the police in carrying out their initial investigation.